The day Gen Z got cursed.
January 26th, 2020 was the day everything seemed to change for the worse. It also happened to be my 15th birthday. I can't seem to remember much about the day other than the fact that I was scrambling to finish my science fair project for school.
I remember we were in class and then they had just told us like, yo, don't come to school anymore. They were like, yeah, nah, you guys are good. But it didn't really matter to us because I think summer was right around the corner and we thought school was just going to start the next semester as normal, like September. School didn't start to goddamn, like almost, wait, school started, but it was remote. For people who had remote, it didn't even start for some people though.
And oh yeah, one of my childhood heroes died in a helicopter crash with his daughter. I can still feel the shock of my brother
R.I.P. the GOAT, man.
Texting me RIP Kobe and the subsequent Google search confirming the news. My family was never big on birthday celebrations, so I didn't have a big party to look forward to, spending much of the day coming to grips with his passing. It was the first time a celebrity death seemed to have any real impact on my emotional state.
Oh my god, the first celebrity that ever had like a impact on me, the first celebrity death that ever had a real impact on me was Juice WRLD, bro. When I got the text from my cousin that Juice WRLD had they had found Juice WRLD dead, but that shit hurt. Damn near cried, and mind you, he does not know me. Does not know me at all. But it was a different type of hurt. And that and Cameron Boyce. Oh my god. That was terrible.
I wasn't immediately overwhelmed by grief or sadness. Honestly, after I got the news, everything just felt off. I felt a deep pit in my stomach that persisted for the rest of the day, and I had trouble focusing on my science project. Unfortunately, this feeling did not subside, and the coming week, I was filled with a similar strange pit in my stomach, as well as a more bleak outlook on life. The first semester of ninth grade, I had a blast. Starting high school, making friends, it was a time of much optimism. But after Kobe passed, it felt like the joy in the world went with him. A month later, we all know what happened. All of a sudden, we were stuck inside. I'd made great strides to socialize and make friends my freshman year, and now the only communication I could have with them was over Discord. The rest of 2020 and 2020...
bro, Discord had never been peak. Among Us? Among Us, bro?
2021 ended up being the worst time of my life. Not because I remember it as particularly bad, but because I can hardly remember it at all. I can't recall any significant memories from that time of my life other than Zoom classes and watching movies in my bedroom.
Literally.
The isolation got to me bad. I know this because of the media I consumed. BoJack Horseman, Blue is the Warmest Color, Manchester by the Sea, Requiem for a Dream, Black Swan.
This is literally a recipe for depression. You know, I started and not gonna. Oh my god, was that me too? Because I got into BoJack Horseman. Another thing I got into was 13 Reasons Why. And at the time, I was only watching like philosophical anime. Like what's like the Erased? Erased is not really philosophical, but like Erased. I can't even remember now. But I might have been going through the same thing.
Perfect Blue, Archie's Final Project.
Yeah, this is definitely a recipe for depression.
All of these are great pieces of art, but were terrible picks for an isolated high schooler who was still trying to figure out life. Eventually, we got back to the outside world, but nothing was the same.
Yeah.
The youthful optimism and wide-eyed curiosity I possessed before had left me.
I'm not gonna lie, I think this was detrimental. I think COVID was detrimental to fucking up all our attention spans because they literally forced us to stay inside for like what, a year or so. Like imagine all the opportunities there were for people to use TikTok. If you hop on a Zoom call, you could literally just turn off your camera, swipe on Zoom, and pretend you're listening to the teachers, right? You're playing the game, fucking bro. We were staying inside. And I'm not gonna lie, content creation was also at its peak.
For school grew exponentially, but I also had no clue what I wanted to do with my life, which created this self-fulfilling loop of misery. The rest of high school was a slog, a never-ending cycle of tests, essays, and a deep longing for more from life. I just wish I could go back to that first semester of 9th grade and stay there forever. But time waits for no man, and every year that passes, that 14-year-old that I once knew grows farther and farther out of reach, and the pressures of growing up mount ever heavier. I used to make fun of millennials a lot. I would make the same tired jokes about them being the participation trophy generation and how they think they're more special than they actually are. But I no longer make these jokes because at least millennials seem to have purpose. Gen Z, by stark contrast, is clinically meandering, too afraid to publicly care about anything, yet secretly overly concerned with everything. Millennials think they can make a difference. We know that we can't, so we don't even try, unless it's by damaging property or getting engagement on social media. Growing up was a lie for Gen Z. It wasn't Zac Efron dancing and playing basketball, it was 8 hours of Zoom classes for a year and masks for another. We don't want to have fun, we just want everyone to think that we are. Reality is artificial, authenticity is scarce, everything now is aura farming, nonchalant slop. If I talk to a Gen Z woman, 50% of the time I'll be subjected to incoherent word vomit about how all her friends are fake and how she needs to post again. If I talk to a Gen Z guy, 50% of the time it'll turn into a subtle contest to assert dominance and prove that you get more women, make more money, and have more fun than he does. If you try to be interested in something, you're corny and trying too hard. If someone...
He's low-key spitting facts, though. He's low-key spitting facts. I think it's become so it just, and I'm trying to think what started all of this. Cuz I don't think it started with COVID. I think it just got amplified, right?
Makes you mad, you got rage baited. If you keep up with the news, you get anxious. If you don't keep up with the news, you become isolated. It feels like nothing really matters anymore. Massive events pass by like they're nothing. Time is running at 2 times speed, and adulthood is not what you thought it would be. I feel like we currently occupy an alternate reality and the timeline split, like we're in a Black Mirror episode warning us of the negative effects of a prolonged period of societal isolation. Sometimes when I'm sitting alone, I imagine myself going back to January 25th, 2020, the night LeBron passed Kobe on the all-time scorers list, and I could just warn him that I could prevent the imminent tragedy from happening. I didn't realize what Kobe Bryant meant to me until he was gone. You see, I grew up a Dallas Mavericks fan, so I spent my entire childhood rooting against Kobe.
Yeah, I can't really even speak on this too, because I can't really speak on that because I'm not even a basketball fan for real. I don't watch basketball a lot, and my friends clown me for this all the time. I don't watch basketball, and I'm not really an enthusiast. Yeah, I can't even, bro. It'd be fun to see them get mad over, like, you know, who won and who didn't, though. I'd be like, damn, your team didn't win.
My team. It wasn't until his retirement that I found myself watching all of his interviews and falling in love with his mindset and approach to life. He represented everything that I aspired to be like. Driven, obsessive, thoughtful, curious, a man who spoke through his actions. And he will forever have a special place in my memory because of that. I'm writing this at 2 a.m. because I can't sleep and want to put this restlessness to use, but really, I guess this is more so just a message to myself. Maybe the timeline did split. Maybe this is the darkest timeline. Maybe growing up is not what you thought it would be. So what? Make it count while you're here.
On dogs. On dogs, bro. You just have to live your life, because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you can't just whittle away. You know what I'm saying? You only get one of it. You have to make the best you can. You have to make the best of what you have to make the best. You have to make. Fuck! I try to give y'all some words of wisdom right there, but you have to make the best of it, basically. That's what I'm trying to say.